Hey, Sam, come here. Come here. Hey, go lay down. Lay down. Go lay down. Welcome back to First Year in Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, coming to you on a beautiful, sunny Scottsdale day. If you guys hear any squeaking in the background, it is because I brought my dog to work day. Didn't want him sitting at home. And so when you do your thing, you can do whatever you want. And today we brought our dog with. So if you hear any squeaking, it is not that your phone is broken or your audio in your car is broken. It is because I decided not to have my dog stay at home all day, and he found a Christmas tree that has a squeaker in it. So just wanted to give you guys a forewarning before we get into it, but I wanted to jump in today and go into a subject that I get a lot of questions on when people are trying to break into med device sales, and then also when people are inside the industry. But I'm also bringing this up is because we're starting to see it happen every once in a while, and there's usually a time of year you'll see companies go through this. It's layoffs. And just understand, it's not just medical device sales. Layoffs happen in every single industry, and many people will bring up, oh, how safe is medical device sales? Is it recession proof? To make you all feel better if you're not in the industry or you're just getting started is there will always be surgeries. It doesn't matter if there's a Great Depression or anything. Guess what? There's still people having heart attacks. There's still people needing surgeries. There's still all of these procedures that are going to have to happen. So just understand that when you're looking at a time of security, what is the job outlook for this industry? It's very good. It's very high because, again, it's not going anywhere. Healthcare is great. But you have to understand that there are going to be layoffs at some point. That is just every industry. And it goes companies. It's not usually that there's mass layoffs all at one medical device company, because also I can sit here and tell you, going through this and doing this long enough, is you might be at a medical device company, but you have to understand there's hundreds of divisions or lots of divisions in a certain company where one division might be doing massive layoffs and the other division's hiring. So you have to understand that there's a lot of differences that go into it. But I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about layoffs because I know this is like the big scary topic that people think about, but it's reality and you have to understand it, that it could happen to you. Now, when I'm stating this to you all, I've never been laid off. I've always been a top performer. I'm very thankful for that. But I have worked with people who have been top performers. A company is doing a switch up or they're changing how they do things and they could be letting people go. You have to understand that this could be because that person is absolutely crushing it and they make too much money, right? And the company's like, oh, could we put someone in there and pay them half the amount of money, lose, let's say 10% of the business. But if we actually look at it, we'd actually make more money as a company. That's a real business strategy and that can happen. So I just want you guys to have a little more understanding. This is never to scare you guys. It's just the honest truth. And just understand this is my experience working with people that we've helped break into the industry, work through it, have helped them get jobs when they have been laid off or have had resignations happen, all the stuff. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more information. But when we're going through this process, I wanted to let you guys know why we talk about this is because every company is in a different spot. And what I mean by that is people will do quarters differently in fiscal years. So like, for example, we're going into May and June, and there's certain companies that will be starting a brand new fiscal year during that time, compared to a lot of companies will start in January and they'll end in December. So you have to just understand companies are different when they're doing their fiscal years, which can lead to different companies doing layoffs or hirings and throughout that process. Now, when you're also looking at this, I want you all to feel very good about top performers will always find a job. And I say this in every single industry. Many people will be like, oh, aren't you scared about getting laid off? And the reality of it is I was never scared about getting laid off because I was a top performer, top 10 at Medtronic. I was one of the top performers at Innovis. So the reason I'm just sitting here telling you that is, A, when you go through that process, you're not worried about it because if you do get laid off, you're going to find a job pretty quick. I can just sit here and tell you, again, this is never a brag. It's just to tell you guys what's out there. I've received multiple job offers since I've gone full time in new to medical device sales. Why? Because they know my track record. They know what I've been able to accomplish. They know what I've done as a rep and as a manager. And they were asking me to be a part of their company. So again, I'm never even out here searching, and there are companies that are coming to me. So the reason I'm sitting here telling you guys is if you do a good enough job, if you are focused on what you're doing, you're going through the process, you are doing the job to get the job, and you continue to crush it in the industry, there's always going to be jobs out there for you. Again, I state that because a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, what about if I get laid off? And I'm like, and so, right? Like, do you get fired and you're dead? No, you just got a new opportunity, right? So you have to kind of look at layoffs and being fired and all that stuff as, okay, it's just a new opportunity, and going from an abundance mindset instead of a scared mindset. Because I'm a big believer, again, I always talk about my faith on here is like, I believe if I get fired or if I'm not there, it's just I'm not supposed to be there. God didn't want me there. It's a opportunity that was closed and a new opportunity is coming. So I always come from that spot instead of people who are like, oh my gosh, I must stink. I'm the worst. Oh my gosh, I'll never find another job. I'm going to be homeless. And they go down this pity party that never helps anybody. And then they feel bad for themselves. And then they go into a really negative spin. So I wanted to state that for you all is, again, top performers will always have a spot. So don't worry about it. Now, you have to understand that it could happen. So again, you're not naive to it, but you don't want to fret about it again, because here's the reality. It's sales, it's entrepreneurship, it's life. You'll figure it out. And that's how I've always handled my life is like, hey, if this all gets shut down tomorrow and stuff, I'll figure it out. I'm not going to stress because we all stress about things that haven't happened or all the what ifs. And then it's like, oh my gosh, now I don't know, right? Like when we saw some of the emails coming through, I just prepped some of the people we work with and I said, hey, this is the reality. It could happen, but let's put in a couple touch points, but let's not freak out until it actually happens. Because what people will do is they'll get emails and be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting let go. And then it's just like, hey, they actually gave them a raise. And now they fretted for a week or 2 weeks and they're like, oh my gosh, right? So wait till it actually happens for you to freak out. Then when it does happen, freak out for the 30 minutes or hour, go eat some ice cream and peanut butter. Great combo. I love ice cream. I love peanut butter. But the reason I'm just sitting here telling you, it's life. Things are going to happen. When things like that happen, it can feel like everything's spinning around. It's not. It's just a new opportunity. Because why I'm going to tell you this, and I'm looking at my notes, is I've watched a lot of people who've gotten let go, who've gotten severance packages for 2, 3, 6 months, and they go get a job within a month. And now for 3, 5 months, they're double dipping and they're making double the amount of money, right? So I always look at it as the opportunity, right? Same thing for you. So again, don't worry about it as if it ever happens to you. Now, I wanted to also come in here and tell you guys about the real life of, I kind of mentioned it. Hey, there's fiscal years, there's companies. You have to understand medical device sales is a business, right? No different than any other company. It's businesses. So they're going to make business decisions. But what I want to sit here and talk to you guys about is when people are like, oh, I'm committed to a company. I'm there the rest of my life. I have to be here. The reason why I challenge all of this is because I've lived it. I've done that. And I know people who go through this every single year is because there are certain companies that will get into the last quarter and they will do travel bans. And what do you mean travel bans, Jacob? It means you aren't allowed to travel within your territory to do surgeries because they don't want you to. Oh, let's talk real fiscal right about this. Oh, so now because they report to stockholders and people that are owning the stock, they want to report that they spend less money to make their spending look like they're spending less money. And then here's a double take on it. Oh, now they spent less money. But now if you're a rep that's at 80, 90, 100%, now you're not allowed to travel. Guess what you're not really going to do? Crush your quota. Why is that important, Jacob? Well, because that's where overage comes in. When I was at Medtronic, they were giving us a 30% overage. Well, guess what? You go in and you crush it. Welcome to having commission checks for $50, $100, $300,000, which reps did. So the reason I'm sitting here telling you that is, so if a company can now do that on purpose and not have to send that to you, and now they did it, guess what? They're still going to be profiting the whole time. Now they just paid you less. There's certain people right now I know they're running at 80% to plan. But then if the back orders that they had from the company were sent out, they'd be at over 100% to plan. Well, Jacob, why would that happen? Is there really back orders? There's never really back orders. And let me sit here and tell you, yeah, could there be supply chain? Yes, there could really actually be back orders. But what I'm going to sit here and tell you, I had it happen to me where we had a bunch of money supposed to be sent out. And guess what? Never got sent out. And I told people, I was like, I promise you, within the first week of the new year, it'll get sent out. Guess what happened on day 2 of the new year? All the back orders that everyone was facing, sent out. Crazy how that happened. Why would I say that? Well, because then that company just saved millions of dollars that it doesn't have to pay to its reps, that it can now put toward your fiscal numbers. So for example, if your at plans 150, now it just goes to your $12,500 a month. Bam. Instead of you were at 112% and like you had an overage. And if they would have sent that out, you would have actually made an extra $32,000, right? You can see where the business game comes in. Hopefully this is just giving you a business lesson of the reason I'm telling you all this is these are the same people who are like, Jacob, you need to stay committed to a company. You need to do all this. And they purposely get screwed every single year at these massive companies that are screwing them on purpose. And then know that they can also do exactly what happens all the time is fire those people. Maybe that rep's doing $300,000 and they're paying them and they've grown the territory and they know that they can go fire that rep and they can go put in an associate or 2 associates or a rep that's not as experienced, know they're going to take a hit, but they're such the market leader that they can take a hit and they can take a 10% drop in the territory because they know some will go when they get rid of that person, but they can go put in people that they can now pay less, and now the company's getting more profit. This is like the business side that nobody talks about. And I just want to be able to show it to you guys that this is the real business. So whenever anybody's like, Jacob, you got to stay at a company for 10 years because that shows loyalty. Well, just so you guys know, if you look at the actual studies, if you change jobs every 2 to 3 years, you're on average make over 50% more than the person who stays longer. Why? Because inflation is probably a little bit more than 2 or 3%. But guess what? You stay at a company, I can sit here and tell you from experience, top 10 performer, crushed it, big payout, commission check, and they're like, hey, you did awesome. We're going to double your quota and we'll give you an extra $4,000. You can imagine where my story went, and my conversation from that went as someone, as you guys know how you listen to me. But the reason I'm sitting here telling you guys is this is what happens. But guess what? I literally changed and right away made $30,000+ more just by making the change. Now, again, the one thing I'll sit here and tell you, the grass isn't always greener. It doesn't mean that just because they pay you more money, it's better, right? That's where you guys have to do the discernment for yourself. Is it a better work-life balance? All this stuff. But I want you guys to understand that when you are going through this process, it is a business. You have to look at it. But why, when people are like, you need to stay here, is because this is the same company that will do that. They'll not pay you on backwards, and then they'll fire you because they can save money, or that they're having some turns and they want to go a different direction and now you're fired. So I just want to be as transparent with you all so you can actually see what you guys can expect. Talking about the reality of the industry. Again, this is an amazing industry still, and it does good stuff. This isn't every industry you're ever going to face, but this is more of the business acumen that nobody's going to talk to you about. This is actually the savvy part. Like when I sit here and tell you guys, yeah, you can make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. You know who's not talking to you this way? The rep's making 150. The rep's even making 200 that stayed at the same company for 5 years. They're not talking to you like this because they'll just be like, oh my gosh, another back order? Oh my gosh, I can't travel Q4. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, my friends. And this is why I sit here and tell you, I love every company I was at, loved Medtronic, loved Innovis. But you have to understand it's also a business. And you have to understand, I'd say this to the same people that work for me. I love you all. But if everything goes south and we can't pay bills, you're all gone because we have to just make the ground meet, right? The reason that I'm saying that is it's the same thing with med device companies. I will sit here and die on this hill because you will see it in every single company. We're family. We're family. We're family. Then they don't pay you out bonus. We're family. We're family. They'll throw a pizza party. We're family. We're family. You're fired. If that's the kind of family you're a part of, maybe look for a new family. The reason I'm sitting here and making some jokes about it is like, here's the reality, guys. Like, that's why I sit here and tell you is like, we talk about in our course, in our program, and in the people we work with is like, you have to work with these companies, but you need to make sure you're benefiting off it because they're going to benefit off you as well. They're making a lot of money off you because you're doing a good job. Well, guess what? You need to make sure that you're making good money as well. So I know that doesn't have much about layoffs, but it actually gives you more of the background of business acumen, how you should be thinking when you go into new companies and go through this process. The last point on that is I'm always going to say, I tell people, I interview with people every single year because if you're at the right spot that's going to pay you fair, that's going to give you the best work-life balance that you feel is great, you would want to stay at your company. But if you go somewhere and you're like, these people are paying 50 grand more, it seems like less travel and less stress, maybe something to explore. The reason I'm sitting here telling you that, a couple reasons. Number one, you should make sure you're always at the best spot. Again, more money doesn't mean it's better. So just make sure that you know that. But also going back to layoffs, guess what happens when you are doing this? A, you have more connections. If you do a really good job, a lot of times when you interview with these companies, they'll be like, please keep us in touch if you don't end up taking the job. And you do it the right way and you say, hey, I'm going to stay with my current company. But it's like, hey, please let us know if this ever changes. I have multiple DMs that I've had where it's like, hey, if you ever decide to come back, please let us know. We would like to interview you for a position because they know the value you can bring to somebody. Then it also is something that you can always have in the back pocket of like, hey, if you're working with a company and they're like, happens all the time. Hey, we lost a rep. We're going to give you their workload and pay you $0 extra. Well, that's a great time to probably bring up like, hey, I totally understand it. I'm a team player. I'll help to an extent. But at the end of the day, you were just paying a whole salary for this. And now you're asking me to do it all for free. Like, I need some compensation. Well, things are tight, Jacob. The things are good. Great. I have another company that's offering me this. What you do? That's how you get into the business acumen part, my friends. And so the reason I'm just sitting here telling you that is because we literally have somebody going through the interview process that they're like, we love you. We think you're great. And they literally flew out from California to Arizona. And that regional manager who scheduled it as this person is going through the interview process, ghosted them. These are the same companies that say you're the greatest, you're the best, we'll be here for you, and then they'll ghost you guys. It's why I don't feel bad when I sit here and tell you guys that we have people get multiple offers. We leverage those offers and get people hired at way higher. And then I have people pissed off in the industry saying, that's not fair, you shouldn't leverage offers. And these are the same managers that will ghost our people. That's how I feel about that. So the reason I'm sitting here telling you, if you get laid off and that happens, this is why it's important. You guys and girls have experience. They say all the time, it's hard to break into med device sales and you just need experience. There's a lot of truth to that. You just need to be breaking into the industry. But again, you need to be performing, because if you're in rep 75 out of 80, well, nobody's really probably knocking down your door. If you do get laid off and you weren't a top performer, here's the whole conversation. You have the experience that they're looking for. And if you are a top performer, it still applies. You have the experience that they're looking for. You might not have the exact same job that they have, but you have the hardest part of you understand medical device sales. You've probably written a PO. You probably know how to prospect, stuff like that. It's all about leveraging. Then we talk about this all the time is once you're in the industry, you should still be networking. Why? A, you could talk to reps that aren't competitors and they might be able to help you in your actual territory. But also in these exact situations of, hey, you got laid off or you found out another jobs, you can send a text and you can be in interviews. That's why I'm never worried. You guys see me do this and I have a lot of relationships in the industry. I can send a text and be in an interview process by the end of the week, right? So the reason I'm just sitting here telling you guys is it's the networking piece. And then if you guys do get laid off, it's what I talked about is like, okay, now we need to make sure that we're running towards an opportunity. Make sure that you're like, hey, this happened. It's unfortunate. Like if there's a layoff, you just let the company know that, hey, there was a layoff. Unfortunately, I was one of the people, but I'm so excited about the new opportunity this brings. And now you're chasing stuff, right? You never want to be like, oh, poor is me. And now I'm just looking for a job because I don't have anything else. It's, hey, you have a great opportunity to go start something new, start fresh, all that. And it's the energy you bring. And then it goes into everything we teach on new to medical device sales. Because I'll sit here and tell you guys, it doesn't matter if you're brand new in the industry. We've helped reps that are associates go from associates to full line reps. We've helped full line reps go to more full line reps. And what I mean by that is full line reps that are making 110 grand, and we've got them placed at $180,000. And we've had people going for over 200,000. So the reason I'm just sitting here and telling you is we have people who will go at higher ends. So that's why I'll sit here and tell you guys to be able to do that. But when you're able to do that in the correct way, you're able to leverage those offers. And then now you make yourself more sellable because you have the experience already. You're now using your leveraging of your network and your experience, which is what this is all about. And then you're going to be able to go get more jobs and again, do the networking, come in prepared, come in at jobs that are way higher. So again, just understand when you get laid off, it's not as big a deal as everybody. Now, again, I will sit here and say, I understand if you guys have families and you have to make rent and you have to do all this stuff. Great. Also, normally the people who are super stressed are the same people who are making 150 grand and then they made their lifestyle 150 grand. I'm just going to sit here and tell you, silly gooses, don't do that. If you're not there, please don't do that anymore, right? So the reason I'm just saying is make sure that you guys get yourself to a good spot. But if a layoff does happen, it's not the end of the world. How are you going to handle it? Okay. So just understand if you do get laid off, it's medical device sales. There's always other jobs. Literally just today, I've seen multiple jobs posted and we've got sent text messages about people looking. So there's always other opportunities. Now it's, hey, let's make sure we're doing it the right way of being able to network, create relationships, because I will say this is I still get people all the time. I got laid off. I want a job. Great. I don't know you, Sharon. Don't do that, guys. You guys are all, the reason I sit here and tell you, you all be in med device sales and you all do this stuff and then things like that happen. And like, you just showed me why you got laid off. You just showed the people why you're reaching out. It's not, again, it's never about just me. It's the other people you're reaching out to. You just showed why you got laid off. You just came up to a stranger, said, hey, can you help me? Compared to, hey, Jacob, I saw you're at this company, would love to learn about your experience there. You can learn, talk to them, and now you come to learn. And then throughout that process, guess what? They might talk to you about some job opportunities, or they really like you and maybe they get you in touch with a hiring manager, or because the networks are so small, you might talk to someone at Stryker who knows about an opportunity at Hologic or Johnson & Johnson or Medtronic because they all have friends in the industry. That's the goal, is just coming to learn. And then again, from there, being able to leverage those offers and those opportunities to go into something new. I just wanted to make today's podcast because, again, I hear this all the time from people who are trying to get in the industry or they are in the industry. They worry about the layoffs. Let me just sit here and tell you, if you're crushing it, if you do really well, you don't need to worry about the layoffs because you're going to do just fine. You're going to be able to go find another job because, again, like I said, everybody will be like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't work? Or what if you guys say, hey, that's where you weren't supposed to be. New opportunity. Go find the right opportunity for you. Keep abundance. It can be scary in the process, but I can sit here and tell you the people who message me and say, I just got laid off. Do you have a job? and then say, hey, no, sorry. Or like, hey, I give them advice. I've had people message me and they're like, screw you, all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't even respond back to them, but I'm like, I know why you're laid off, right? So don't be that person. Come in, always be energetic. If you can, you might get a package of where you get a severance package, and then you can leverage that opportunity to now go double dip, make money, and go into an opportunity. Just remember, there's always opportunities in medical device sales. So I hope this was helpful because, again, I wanted to show you guys that layoffs will happen no matter what industry. But medical device sales, there's always the opportunity to go get a new job. There's always an opportunity to come in and make more money than you were making. And you don't have to be coming from a fear place of scared. But also, hopefully, today's episode gave you some more business acumen, because I will sit here and tell you, most people that are in med device sales don't even understand what I just explained in the business acumen part of layoffs, of back orders, of waiting till the end of the year, of companies making, hey, we're going to cut a rep for $300K because we can get someone in there for 180, and we know we'll lose top line this much, but we know we can make that. I just want to sit here and tell you guys that I'm just trying to help you guys. I want to give you value. Hopefully this was extremely helpful for you all. If you could, it would mean the world to me if you can share this with somebody that you feel like it could be helpful for. A like and subscribe will help us grow this channel. And I just want you guys to know from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Just to all the support. Thank you to everyone who reaches out to the messages. It's been so amazing to see the messages of the people we've helped break in, the people we're helping have success now that they are reps in the industry by just the tips and the podcasts we put out. And something that's cool that's happened is we have now people in the industry coming to us because they're associates. And we just had somebody who was an associate making only $80,000. We just got them placed at $180,000. We've been able to help full line reps, like I said, go from 110 to plus 180. It's turned into something could never imagine to. But again, being able to help you guys, whether you're trying to break in the industry, your associates trying to be full line reps, or your full line reps trying to actually go perform or go get a new opportunity, we've been able to help throughout that process. So if you guys have any questions or like to learn more, click the link below, New to Medical Device Sales. Also, can reach out to me, Jacob McLaughlin, or New to Medical Device Sales on any of the socials. Make sure to follow me on LinkedIn. We can always connect. Always would love to chat with you all. But again, I just want to continue to provide value to you all. Keep going after your goals. Keep crushing it. Keep going after quota. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Come here. Come here. You've already done it. Oh. Come here.